From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, November the 14th, 2018. We open with some surprising political news from Israel. Israel's Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman said today that he would be resigning from that post because of Israel's agreement to a ceasefire with terror group Hamas. In a video on his Facebook page, Lieberman said, "For me, what happened yesterday, the ceasefire yesterday, together with the ongoing agreements with Hamas, is a capitulation to terror." The outgoing defense chief said Israel was buying quiet for a heavy price with no long-term plan. The other two members of the party that Lieberman chairs, Yisrael Beitenu, will also leave the Knesset, which may put Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government in jeopardy and make early elections more likely. Israel accepted the ceasefire for a halt in violence from Gaza yesterday afternoon, brokered by Egypt. There were also reports that Norway, the United Nations, and Switzerland were involved in the negotiations. Some residents of Israel's southern communities also protested the ceasefire, claiming that it will only lead to more rocket attacks. Netanyahu defended the agreement. He said yesterday at the state memorial ceremony for David Ben-Gurion, the first prime minister of Israel, that in times of crisis, Ben-Gurion made fateful decisions, sometimes against popular opinion, which proved to be correct in the end. The prime minister said, "I hear the voices of the residents of the South. Believe me, they are precious to me." He said in normal times, a leader must be attentive to the hearts of the people. But in times of crisis, when making critical decisions in the field of security, the public cannot always be a partner in the crucial considerations that must be concealed from the enemy, adding that our enemies have pleaded for a ceasefire and they know very well why. Meanwhile, at the border fence with Gaza this morning, the IDF spokesperson said a Palestinian terrorist from Gaza, armed with a knife and wire cutters, attempted to breach the border fence with Israel while throwing grenades at IDF soldiers. Israeli troops fired towards the man, and the terrorist was apprehended and taken for questioning. Later today, at the border fence, a Palestinian ignored warning shots by IDF troops as he approached the fence and was shot and killed. The U.S. administration announced an offer of up to $5 million yesterday for information on a leader of Hamas believed to have directed several terror attacks in the West Bank, including the murders of 3 Israeli teenagers in 2014. Salih al-Aruri was one of the 3 wanted terrorists listed by the U.S. State Department under its Rewards for Justice program. They wrote Aruri funded and directed Hamas military operations in the West Bank and has been linked to several terrorist attacks, hijackings, and kidnappings. The statement said in 2014, al-Aruri announced Hamas's responsibility for the June 12, 2014 terrorist attack that kidnapped and killed 3 Israeli teenagers in the West Bank, including dual U.S.-Israeli citizen Naftali Frankel. The other 2 teenagers who were murdered were Gilad Sher and Eyal Yifrach. Ecuador posthumously recognized a Holocaust hero this past Friday and cleared his name. Local paper El Comercio reported that Ecuadorian Foreign Minister Jose Valencia signed an agreement to restore Manuel Antonio Munoz Borrero as a member of the country's foreign service. Borrero was removed from his position as consul in Stockholm in 1942. After saving over 100 Jews from the Nazis by granting them passports. When his actions were discovered by Ecuadorian officials, he was let go. Valencia apologized to Borrero's family and said his behavior was a sign of a brave humanistic attitude, solidarity, and brotherhood with those who were persecuted for being what they were, Jews. Borrero died in 1976. He was also posthumously honored by Yad Vashem, Israel's memorial to the Holocaust, as a righteous among the nations back in 2011. Well, popular Israeli Arab blogger Nusser Yassin, who tours and shares stories from around the world in 1-minute clips, launched a video last week on his Facebook page, Nas Daily, about the life-saving work of Israeli nonprofit United Hatzalah. It has now been viewed 23 million times, the most widely watched video about an Israeli nonprofit ever. The Jerusalem-based Emergency Medical Services Organization is made up of volunteers from all backgrounds, religions, and ethnicities who share one goal: saving lives.
Sitting here in United Hatzalah, in between an ultra-Orthodox Jew and a Muslim.
What you're looking at is a group of people who came together under one organization called United Hatzalah to rise above politics, above money, above race, above religion, just to save lives.
Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Wednesday, November the 14th at 7 o'clock, a look at the viability of a two-state solution between Israel and the Palestinians from Limmud, New York 2018. At 9 tonight, Mark Golub sits down with author Scott Shea, who talks about his book, In Good Faith, Questioning Religion and Atheism. That's on L'chaim. At 10:30, it's Faith to Faith. And coming up right after this newscast tonight at 6:30, Thinking Out Loud with Micah Halpern. And that's the JBS News Update for Wednesday, November the 14th, 2018. I'm Teisha Bader.